Well, it's been a difficult summer for the endangered right whale. More than a dozen were killed, some by ship strikes, and the search is on for how to prevent more deaths. But whale experts say they are not the only species endangered by ship strikes. The gentle giants, humpbacks, are also at risk. Now, the North Atlantic humpback migrates northward from the Caribbean in the spring along the east coast of the U.S. and Canada. The planet's largest gathering of humpback whales is found off this province from June to September. The research group Allied Whale out of Bar Harbor, Maine, says 50 have died in the Gulf of Maine over the past 2 years. 11 of them were hit by vessels. While humpback numbers seem relatively healthy, Allied Whale is collecting as much information as it can to understand migration patterns and threats to the population. In this province, citizen scientists armed with cameras are doing their best to help. As Jane Adey reports, they're tracking humpback stories one photograph at a time.
Trinity, Newfoundland offers tourists some spectacular scenery on land. But it's the scenery on the ocean that really wows a crowd.
He's active whale.
There's two, three. There's three in a group further up.
Yeah, slapping.
Oh God, man.
Oh. Nice.
Oh my God.
What a nice white little belly.
That's Chris Prince with the commentary. He's been bringing tourists out on the water for these kinds of experiences for 20 years.
It's a dream job. It really is, yeah. I never worked a day in my life at it. It's always, you know, just such an exciting feeling just to be out on the water and to get around them and see the whales so happy feeding and then putting off the shoals breaching and tail breaching and just never get tired of it.
She's a coward. She wants to go in the box.
Chris and his wife Shauna own Sea of Whales whale tours in Trinity. They help tourists capture photos of a lifetime, but they're also keen on taking their own snaps to capture whale tails.
Going deep, here she goes.
Each animal can be identified by the unique black and white pattern on the underside of their tails.
Come on! Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's an old breacher from way back. I remember that tail, Cora, remember that one?
It's been around for about 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, could be. And I remember one time we had it breach over 100 times in 3 hours off Catalina. Oh yeah, what a good one, Reg.
Oh, that's great. I think that's the first.
Chris compares his tail shots with Reg Kempen's. Kempen is from England. He came to Trinity to whale watch 20 years ago and got hooked. He's been back every summer since.
It seemed to me, anyway, it was really just a waste of time to come out on these trips, take loads of pictures, take them home, show them to people, and then never look at them again.
Sitting there and having to go through every single one of them.
So Reg, Chris, and Shauna started a catalogue of whale tails.
When you look at that, tell me, do you not see the head of a bald eagle on the right-hand side?
Oh, I do see it.
Hey!
So here's the eye of the eagle and the beak, and then the back of the head.
Together, they've identified 800 individuals that feed in Trinity Bay. They share and compare their findings with a group called Allied Whale, based in the Gulf of Maine. Allied Whale has been collecting whale tail photos since the 1970s.
It's really a thrill for us when we make a match on an animal that hasn't been sighted in a very, very long time. Just looking at like their life history. So one of our biggest success stories was finding that one in 1974, or that hadn't been seen since 1974. And that was a few years back. And so, you know, when you have an animal that's been out there all this time, I mean, they don't go and hide somewhere, that no one has seen that animal since then. And the last time it had been seen was off the coast of Puerto Rico.
Out of the 800, I would guess we've got pretty decent history on 250, 300 of them. And some of that history goes back 20, 30, and in that one great case, 40 years.
There he is.
There are citizen scientists all over the East Coast sharing their humpback photos with Allied Whale. Deb Young takes hers in Witless Bay. She has records on about 1,000 humpbacks.
I think we are important. I mean, the scientific community are finding out that yes, we're not trained in this, but logic tells you how to do this and what you're looking for, and with the right whales, with sharks, with anything in the sea at this point. We need to see how the creatures are doing. If they're not doing well, then we're not going to do well. I mean, it's kind of our temperature, isn't it?
Yeah! Whoa! Wow!
Right now, the North Atlantic humpback population is somewhere around 22,000 animals. About 5,600 of them spend their summers in Canadian waters. And citizen scientists here have got their tails and their backs.
I think it's important that we know how the population is doing, where they're going. We've had a very unusual year where things came late. We normally see 4 to 5 mom and calf pairs, and we've only seen 1. So that's a little concerning. I don't know if they've just found a better place to feed, or if they're just not having as many calves. We don't know. There's so many more questions that we don't have answers to. But this is the only way we can try to find out.
Jane Adey, CBC News, Witless Bay.